so far from the main trade routes that most captains forgot it even existed. It had no cities, no weapons, no rare minerals. Just a lonely metal station floating above a cold, empty moon. But one thing made Helios 9 special. It was a listening station, and it heard things long before anyone else. Every day its scanners swept the darkness. Every day its crew checked signals, tracked movements, and watched the borders where alien empires often moved in silence. To the crew it felt like boring work, but they knew the truth. Sometimes wars started from places exactly like this. Commander Raina Hale, the officer in charge, was used to long nights. She sat alone in the command room, staring at the giant hollow map in front of her. Green dots showed friendly ships. Blue dots showed traders. A few yellow dots marked unknown objects. Everything felt normal, until the lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then the station shook like something massive brushed against its hull. Raina stood up fast. "What was that?" she asked. No one answered. Because in that same moment, every screen on Helios 9 went black. The outpost fell completely silent. For 3 long seconds, nothing moved. Nothing breathed. The crew stared at each other in fear, as the cold emergency lights slowly turned on, painting everything in red shadows. Lieutenant Orion, the station's scanner expert, typed quickly on his console. The system refused to respond. "It's not a glitch," he said quietly. "Something is blocking us." Raina felt a chill run through her chest. "Block us? Who could block us out here?" Orion swallowed hard. "Someone close." The air suddenly grew heavy, almost electric, like the station itself knew something terrible was coming. Raina ordered a full reboot. Backup systems flickered, struggling to wake up, and then a single message appeared on the main screen. No sender, no code, no signature, just 5 words: "We are already inside." The crew stared at the message in shock. Raina stepped closer, her voice unsteady. "Inside? Inside what? Our system?" Orion shook his head. "No, inside the station." Before Raina could give her next order, a strange low hum echoed through the corridors. It sounded like metal bending, or something moving behind the walls. The crew armed themselves. They moved slowly toward the corridors, checking corners, checking doors. But every door was open. Every room was empty. Nothing was broken. Nothing was stolen. It felt like the entire outpost had been touched by something unseen but powerful. Then the hum stopped. The power returned. The scanners came back online. Raina rushed to the command console. "Report!" The data shocked everyone. The scanners showed a burst of unknown energy, strong enough to wipe digital records but not strong enough to destroy the station. The burst had lasted less than 1 second. But in that 1 second, every camera, every sensor, every recording device had gone completely dark. "Someone didn't want us to see what happened," Orion whispered. Raina ordered a full transmission to Earth. The message was simple. Helios 9 compromised. Unknown enemy inside, but when she hit send, the console blinked once, and the message vanished. The outpost had been cut off. Across the main hallway, a faint metallic sound echoed again. Like footsteps. Slow, heavy, not human. Raina raised her weapon and moved forward, her team behind her. They reached the corridor. They aimed their lights into the darkness, but the corridor was empty. Perfectly empty, almost too empty. Every tool, every crate, every supply container stored in the hall had disappeared without a trace, as if someone had walked through the station collecting objects silently. Without breaking a single lock, Raina exhaled shakily. "This isn't a normal attack." Orion checked the logs again. "Commander, the system recorded something right before the blackout." Raina turned quickly. What did it record? Orion zoomed the last frame. The crew leaned closer. It showed the hallway during the blackout. Blurry, distorted, and behind the distortion, a tall shadow. Long limbs, bright glowing eyes. No face, no suit, no sound, just a shape watching them. Then the frame ended. Raina stepped back, her skin cold. That thing was inside with us. Before anyone could speak, a loud alarm suddenly screamed through the outpost. A voice from the system announced, "Critical breach detected." "Evacuate immediately." Raina grabbed the emergency transmitter. "Send a distress call to Earth." Now Orion tried again, but the system refused. Every attempt failed. Every signal was blocked by one repeating message on screen: "Do not call for help." The lights went out again. The hum returned. Louder this time, closer. The crew began to run toward the escape pods, but only one thing mattered in Reyna's mind. Whatever was inside the outpost wanted them silent, wanted them isolated, wanted them gone. And then the outpost stopped transmitting forever. Helios 9 went dark. Across the galaxy, for a few minutes no one noticed, but Earth noticed. Because in the last second before complete shutdown, the outpost sent one final broken signal, a corrupted audio clip, a whisper filled with terror. They are already here. Earth froze. High Command stopped every operation, and the order was given. Prepare the Warfleet, because if someone could erase an entire outpost without a sound, humanity knew this enemy was unlike anything they had ever faced. The audio clip from Helios 9 played again inside Earth Command Hall. The giant room was normally loud, filled with officers giving reports, ships checking in, and diplomats complaining about budgets. But now it was silent, completely silent. Everyone listened to the last whisper from the lost outpost. They are already here. The voice was damaged, broken, filled with fear. Some officers tried to convince themselves it was static. Others pretended it was just an equipment failure. But everyone knew the truth. This was the voice of someone who believed they were about to die. General Arik Vance stood at the head of the table, his jaw tight. He had been in command for 30 years. Fought in 3 alien wars, survived more battles than any human alive. But even he felt uneasy. He replayed the scan logs for the room. Short burst of unknown energy. Systems corrupted. Cameras blinded. A mysterious tall shadow inside the outpost. Then, silence. Vance took a slow breath. We need to understand what happened. Who or what entered Helios 9? No one answered. Dr. Mira Solaris, the galaxy's top xenotech scientist, finally spoke. We've seen energy signatures similar to this only once. 80 years ago. On the edge of Andromeda. The room turned toward her. She tapped the holoscreen, showing an old classified report. A dead ship floating in space. No crew, no damage. No sign of struggle. Just a single message scratched into the wall. We woke something. Humans never found out what that something was. The investigation team sent to the ship vanished. No signal. No bodies, nothing. General Vance closed the report. Are you suggesting the same force hit Helios 9? Mira nodded slowly. Yes, same energy burst. Same camera blackout. Same silence after. An uneasy tension spread across the hall. Vance finally gave the order. Activate the fleet. All around the room, officers reached for their consoles. Alerts sent. Battalions mobilized. Ship crews summoned from rest. Engines warmed across spaceports. The human warfleet, famous across 10 galaxies, began to rise, not for war. Not yet for answers. Across Earth, thousands of citizens saw the sky fill with red warning banners. People paused in streets, staring at the digital boards. Alert unknown threat. Stand by for updates. Rumors spread fast. Some said an alien empire was coming. Others said a new war had started. But no one guessed the truth. High above Earth, the warship Titan's wake powered up its core. The ship was huge, almost a floating city, armed with weapons strong enough to break moons. Captain Rhea Talon, known for never losing a fight, received her orders directly from Vance. Her eyes narrowed as she read the mission. Investigate, Helios 9. Recover black box. Identify, unknown intruder. Return, with answers. She stared at the last line. Do, not engage unless absolutely necessary. She smirked. That means we'll probably engage. Her crew prepared for departure. Meanwhile, in the deepest part of Earth's underground command bunker, another meeting took place. This one had only 3 people: General Vance, Dr. Mira Solaris, and Director Cale Riven, leader of Earth's intelligence network. Cale was calm, too calm, which meant he already knew something. Vance spoke first. You received secret data before the meeting. What are you hiding? Cale placed a small device on the table. A projection lit up. A map of space. Bright blue lines marked human territory. Dozens of green dots marked alien ships, but then red lines appeared. Strange red routes coming from deep dark space. Thousands of them, all moving closer to human borders. Mira froze. These aren't trade routes. That's a coordinated movement, Cale nodded. They were invisible until yesterday. Someone cloaked them. Someone with technology far beyond anything we know. Vance stepped forward. How close are they? Kale zoomed the map. 3 red lines touched the Helios 9 region. One passed right over the outpost's location. Mira whispered. They didn't destroy the outpost. They tested something. Vance clenched his fist. Tested what? Kale looked at both of them. A weapon? A species? A scout force? We don't know. But whatever touched Helios 9, it is not from any known empire. And it is moving toward us. Vance gave a final order. No public announcements. No panic. Until we know what we're facing, we move quietly. Mira nodded. The fleet will reach Helios 9 in 16 hours, Kale added. If the station still exists. They all stared at the last remaining signal from Helios 9. That single broken voice. They are already here. Vance whispered to himself. If that's true, then we're already late. And so the fleet moved. Hundreds of human warships charging into the dark. Uncertain, unprepared, but determined. Because humanity never backed down from the unknown. But this time, the unknown was watching them back. The human war fleet moved through the star lanes like a silent storm. Engines glowed faint blue in the darkness as ship after ship joined formation. No music, no celebration, only the quiet tension of people who didn't yet know what they were about to face. Inside Titan's wake, Captain Rhea Talon stood in front of the main viewport. The stars stretched across the glass like white dust. She didn't blink. She didn't smile. She only waited, her mind turning over the same questions again and again. What could make an entire outpost disappear? What walked inside Helios 9 unseen? What was that shadow? Her second officer, Jax Nolan, finally spoke. Ma'am, the crew is nervous. They keep replaying the audio from Helios 9. Rhea answered without looking away from the stars. They should be nervous. That voice belonged to someone who saw their own death. Jax exhaled slowly. Do you think we're walking into a trap? Rhea almost smiled. We usually are. The ship continued its silent journey. Hours passed. Tension grew. When Titan's wake finally dropped out of faster-than-light travel, the crew expected to see the familiar glow of Helios 9's navigation lights. Instead, they saw nothing. The station hung in space like a dead skeleton. Cold, dark, no beacons, no movement. The outpost looked abandoned but not damaged, almost like it had simply stopped being alive. Scan it, Rhea ordered. The crew worked fast. No life signs. No power signatures except weak battery traces. No floating debris. No signs of battle. Rhea narrowed her eyes. So it wasn't destroyed. It was emptied. A small shuttle team suited up. 6 soldiers. 2 engineers. 1 medic. Rhea watched from the viewport as the shuttle approached the outpost's docking ring. Everything about the station felt wrong. Too quiet. Even in space, stations had hums, lights, vents, signals. This one felt like a tomb. The shuttle reached the hull. Then the pilot said something that made every person on the bridge fall silent. Commander, docking clamps are open. Rhea frowned. Open? Who opened them? Unknown. The team stepped inside. Their helmet cams streamed the silent hallways back to Titan's wake. Rhea watched every frame. The corridors were clean. Too clean. No blood, no bodies. No signs of struggle. It looked like everyone simply walked out of the station and vanished. One soldier spoke quietly. Feels like a ghost ship. Rhea didn't disagree. The deeper they went, the stranger things became. Panels were missing from the walls. Storage crates were gone. Entire sections looked stripped, not broken, not smashed. Removed carefully, deliberately. The medic paused near a wall. Captain, there's something here. The cam zoomed in. A long black mark ran across the metal, almost like something had dragged its claws or tools along it. But the mark wasn't carved. It wasn't burned, it was melted. Rhea's voice lowered. What melts reinforced titanium without heat? No one answered. The team continued deeper. They reached the command room. Lights flickered weakly. Everything was quiet. One engineer approached a console. Captain, the black box is missing. Rhea clenched her jaw. Of course it was. But then something unexpected happened. A soldier at the back of the room whispered, his voice shaking. Captain, you need to see this. The cam turned. In the corner of the room, someone had left a message. Not written, not carved. Burned into the metal. 3 words. Huge. Deep. Precise. Words that looked like they were made by a hand that wasn't human. We mark you. The words glowed faint orange around the edges. Like the burn was fresh. No, Rhea whispered. This just happened. Then the temperature inside the station dropped suddenly. Mist formed in the cam's view. Breath turned white. One soldier shouted, "Movement! Behind the wall!" The cams shook. The crew back on Titan's wake tensed, but nothing came out. The movement stopped. The wall stayed still. Rhea leaned forward, heart pounding. Team, fall back now. Before they could move, the lights in the command room flickered again. 1 second, 2 seconds. Dark. Light. Dark. Then a shadow appeared in the doorway, tall, thin, unmoving, glowing white eyes staring directly into the camera. Every person on Titan's wake froze. Then the lights went out completely. The feed cut to static. Rhea slammed her fist on the console. Reconnect. Get visuals back. Nothing. Total silence. The shuttle team was alone inside the dark station, and something was in there with them. Inside the dead station, the shuttle team stood frozen. Their helmets showed nothing except static and faint outlines. The lights had gone out so fast that no one even had time to aim their weapons properly. Sergeant Vale whispered into his mic. "Captain, we lost visuals. We still hear you, but cams are gone." Rhea's voice came through the team's headsets, sharp and steady. "Activate helmet lights. Move together. Do not separate." One by one, tiny beams of white light cut through the darkness. Cold mist drifted around them. Footsteps echoed too loudly, as if the station had grown bigger, emptier. Private Lyra aimed her light at the doorway where the shadow had appeared. There was nothing there now. Just an empty hall stretching into black. But the air felt wrong, heavy, alive. Vale stepped forward carefully, scanning the walls. Whatever that thing was, it knew exactly when to cut the power. Lyra whispered. "Why would it let us see it at all?" No one answered. They moved down the corridor, passing the burned message. "We mark you." Each letter seemed deeper now, like the metal had cooled unevenly. As they walked, the temperature continued to drop. The medic checked his wrist panel. "It's falling too fast. This is not normal. Something is draining heat." Back on Titan's wake, the bridge crew tried everything to restore the helmet feeds, but nothing worked. Rhea paced in front of the screens. Every muscle tense. "Try the emergency override," she ordered. No response. No data. No signal feedback. It was as if the station was swallowing every transmission whole. Jax spoke quietly. "Ma'am, if their helmets are still functional and we still have audio, then something is blocking video only." Rhea nodded slowly. "Because it doesn't want us to see." Inside the station, the team reached the central spine corridor. Something was off. The walls looked warped, not bent, stretched. The metal seemed thinner, like something had pulled it from the inside. Vale touched a section of the wall. It was ice cold, almost brittle. "This place isn't decaying," he said. "It's being drained." Lyra raised her weapon. "Drained by what?" A soft echo drifted from deep inside the station. Not footsteps. Not metal, something else, almost like breathing. Slow, deep, measured. The team froze again. Vale lifted his hand. No one moved. The breathing stopped. Then a long, low scrape echoed behind them. They turned at once, lights flashing across the corridor. Nothing. No creature. No shadow. Just a long mark across the floor, freshly carved. Lyra's voice trembled. "It's moving behind us," Vale made the call. "We're leaving. Now. Back to the shuttle." They started moving fast, staying together, weapons ready. But the station felt different now. The corridors looked unfamiliar. Longer. Darker. As if the station was changing shape. Rhea heard their footsteps grow faster through the audio feed. "Team, report your position." "We're heading back," Vale said. "But the map is wrong." "What do you mean wrong?" "The hallways are not where they should be." Rhea felt her stomach tighten. "Stations don't change their layout." "Captain, this one is." The breathing returned. Closer. Louder. Not from one direction, from many. As if the station itself was filled with unseen lungs. Something slammed into the floor behind the team, a heavy impact. Strong enough to shake frost off the ceiling. Lyra screamed, "Movement behind us! It's fast!" Vale shouted, "Run!" The team broke into a sprint, boots smashing against the metal floor. Lights flickered from their helmets as their breathing grew loud and panicked. The shuttle came into sight. The open hatch glowed like the only safe place in the universe. "Move! Move!" Vale yelled. The last soldier jumped inside as Vale hit the close button. The hatch began to slide shut. But then, the scraping sound returned. Very close, right outside the hatch, the metal rattled violently. Something hit the door. Hard enough to bend it. Vale shouted, "Launch! Launch now!" The pilot slammed the controls. The shuttle detached from the station with a burst of gas. As it drifted backward, one of the soldiers looked through the small rear window. His voice shook. "Captain." "The station." Rhea leaned toward the display as the shuttle's cam finally reconnected. What she saw made her breath stop. The entire station was glowing faint red from the inside, as if thousands of eyes were watching from behind the walls. Then the lights inside the station went dark again. All at once, the shuttle engines fired. They raced back toward Titan's wake. When they docked, the soldiers stumbled out, shaking, sweating, pale. Rhea met Vale first. "What did you see?" Vale swallowed hard. "Captain, whatever is inside Helios 9, it was not alone." Rhea felt cold. "Explain." Vale whispered the words no one wanted to hear. There were many of them. Far away, deep inside the dead station, something scraped the metal again. Not angry, not rushed, just patient and watching. The soldiers who survived Helios 9 were taken straight to the medical bay. Their suits were removed, their vitals checked, their minds scanned for trauma. None of them were injured, but all of them looked like people who had seen something they were not meant to see. Captain Rhea Talon stood outside the glass as the medic ran tests. Every few seconds, she glanced at the door, expecting something from the station to follow them. Jax approached her quietly. "The team is stable, but they're refusing to talk. All of them," Rhea frowned. "Refusing?" Jax nodded. Total silence. "They keep looking at the walls like something is listening." Rhea felt a chill. Then something probably is. She turned toward the command bridge. "Get the recording from their suits. All audio. We're going to find out what happened." Jax hurried off. Inside medical, Vale sat on the edge of the bed, hands shaking. The medic tried to calm him, but he didn't respond. His eyes stayed fixed on the shadows in the corner of the room. "Sergeant, you're safe now," the medic said softly. Vale whispered back, barely audible, "No one is safe. Not from them. They were already inside before we knew." The medic stopped. "Knew what?" Vale looked up slowly. The station wasn't empty. It was feeding. The medic stepped back. Feeding on what? Vale didn't answer. On the bridge, Rhea finally received the audio logs. She played the first file. Static. Footsteps. Breathing. Then the sound of something sliding across metal. Something large. The next file was worse. The team whispering. The temperature dropping. The strange breathing surrounding them, then a voice. Not human. Not alien. Something deeper. It whispered a single word. Seen. Rhea froze. She replayed it. The voice was cold, layered, almost like many voices speaking at the same time. Jack swallowed hard. "Captain, this doesn't match any known species," Rhea answered quietly. "Because this thing might not be alive the way we understand it." Before they could continue, the main alarm blared across Titan's wake. Unknown signal detected. Rhea rushed to the console. "What is it?" The officer's face went pale. "It's coming from Helios 9. Rhea's heart dropped. "The station is transmitting?" "Not exactly," the screen flickered. A repeating symbol appeared. Not letters. Not numbers. A spiral. Black. Perfect. Slowly turning. Rhea narrowed her eyes. "Translate it." "We can't, it's not a language," but Jax leaned closer. "It's a mark." Rhea nodded slowly. "The same mark they left inside the station." Across the ship, lights dimmed for half a second. The temperature dropped by 1 degree. Crew members looked around nervously. Rhea activated ship-wide comms. "All hands, stay at your posts." No one panics. No one moves without orders. The spiral symbol disappeared from the screen. A new message replaced it. 3 words, burned into the image. exactly like the message on the station wall. "We see you." Rhea felt her chest tighten. "They're watching us." They followed the team back. The ship shook suddenly. "Not from impact. From something else, Captain," a technician shouted. "The energy reading is the same type we detected from Helios 9. Is something attacking us?" "No, it's scanning us." Every crew member went silent as the scanning wave passed through the ship. One long hum. Deep. Dark. Alive. When it stopped, Rhea heard new footsteps inside the corridor outside the bridge. Heavy. Slow. Not like a soldier. Not like any creature she knew. She drew her sidearm. Jax whispered, "Captain." The team brought something back with them. Rhea didn't lower her weapon. "Then we have a bigger problem." The lights flickered once, twice, then a voice whispered through the ship's audio system, not through the speakers. "Through the metal itself, we mark you." The bridge froze. Rhea steadied her gun and spoke quietly, almost to herself. Helios 9 was only the beginning. Deep in the medical bay, Vale looked up suddenly as the lights dimmed above his bed. His voice trembled. "They're not hunting us." The medic stepped back. "Then what are they doing?" Vale stared at the ceiling, eyes wide. "They're choosing." Outside the window of Titan's wake, something moved in the darkness, a distortion, a shadow, watching the ship from the void. And the Warfleet had no idea how close the enemy already was. The shadow outside Titan's wake did not move like a ship. It had no lights, no engines, no clear shape. It shifted slowly like smoke drifting in space, but heavier, almost solid. The sensors tried to lock onto it, but failed every time. On the bridge, Rhea stared at the screens. "Why can't the scanners catch it?" The officer shook his head. "It's there, but not there. Every time we try to read it, the data breaks." Jax leaned forward. "It's watching us." "I can feel it." Rhea didn't argue. Everyone felt it. The temperature dropped again. Inside medical, the soldiers finally started speaking. Or whispering, or breathing in short, broken words. The medics tried calming them, but the fear was too deep. They kept repeating the same thing over and over. They were behind us, and they were inside the walls. They saw inside our minds. Vale suddenly stood up, calmer than the others. "They want someone on the ship," he said softly. The medic froze. "Who?" Vale didn't answer. He just walked toward the door, eyes empty. On the bridge, a new alarm went off. "Captain, someone opened the external bay." Rhea's heart dropped. "Who opened it?" "Sergeant Vale." Before they could react, the internal cameras showed Vale walking into the empty bay. The large door behind him sealed shut. He stood alone in the center, back straight, hands at his sides. Jax whispered, "He looks like he's waiting for something." Rhea slammed the comms open. "Vale, stand down! Do not move! Do not open that door!" Vale didn't even blink. He looked up at the ceiling as if listening to a voice only he could hear. Then the bay lights went out. For 2 seconds, only darkness. When the lights returned, Vale was gone. Jack stared at the screen in shock. He didn't open the door. There was no air leak. No movement, he just vanished. Rhea clenched her jaw. It took him. The ship trembled again. The shadow outside grew larger, pressing closer to the hull. It didn't fly. It didn't approach. It simply appeared like it was stepping into their world from somewhere else. A technician checked the readings. "Captain, this thing is not a ship. It's a fracture." Rhea turned sharply. "A fracture?" "In space. In reality. It's like something is pushing through from another layer." Jack swallowed hard. Maybe the station wasn't dying. Maybe it was transforming. The lights dimmed again, one by one, like something was draining the power from the inside. Then the shadow touched the hull. The metal screamed. Not like bending or breaking, like something alive was in pain. Rhea steadied herself. "Shields up." "Full power!" "Shields are already up," the officer shouted. But it's inside them. It passed through like they're not real. The entire ship went silent for half a second. Then every screen turned black. One message appeared. "We took one. We will take more. The door is open." Rhea punched the console in frustration. They're invading the ship. Before she could finish, a low sound filled the bridge. A slow, deep beat, like a giant heartbeat echoing through the metal. Jax looked around, terrified. "Captain, that's coming from the inside of the hull." Rhea spoke through her teeth. "They're changing the ship. Using it. A faint figure appeared at the far end of the bridge. Not Vale, not human. A tall, thin silhouette made of vague, shifting lines like a person made of smoke and static. It stood completely still. Every crew member froze. The figure raised a hand. The heartbeat sound stopped. Everyone felt something push into their head. A whisper. Cold and deep. We opened the first door. Through him. Rhea stepped forward, gun shaking in her hand. "What do you want?" The figure tilted its head slowly, as if studying her. "We are not here for war. We are here for selection," Jax whispered. "Selection for what?" The figure turned its head toward him. "For who survives what comes next." The shadow outside the ship grew even larger. Spreading across the stars like ink, Rhea felt her breath tighten. "Part of humanity has already been taken," the figure said. "Its" voice came from everywhere. "And now we choose the rest." Static burst across the bridge as the figure flickered, then it vanished. The lights died. The engines shut off. Titan's wake drifted in total darkness. Only one light remained. A small blinking dot on the main screen. A signal, not from the shadow, not from Helios 9, from deep space. A new message, a single warning. The fracture is spreading, and humanity was out of time. Titan's wake floated in darkness, cold and silent. The crew stood frozen around the dim screens, waiting for anything to move, anything to breathe. The shadow outside no longer acted like a thing in space. It stretched and curled across the stars like something alive, something patient. Rhea stared at the blinking dot on the main screen. The warning signal repeated again. The fracture is spreading. She knew this wasn't a threat. It was a countdown. Jax finally broke the silence. "Captain, if this thing spreads, every colony is done. Every ship. Every planet." Rhea didn't look away from the screen. "I know." The ship suddenly shook as the shadow outside pulsed. This time the metal didn't scream. Instead, it sounded like something was tapping from the other side. Soft. Calm. Like knuckles on a door. 1 tap. 2. 3. The crew stepped back from the walls. Fear thick in the air. The tapping stopped. Then a voice came through the speakers. Deep, distorted and slow. "You are not chosen yet." Rhea clenched her fists. "We're not letting you take anyone else." The voice didn't respond. Instead, the bay doors on the lower deck slowly unlocked by themselves. Every red warning light flashed. "Unauthorized access," the computer repeated. Jax looked at Rhea. "They're inside the systems." Rhea didn't waste a second. "Seal all decks. We're going down there." Most captains would stay on the bridge. But Rhea wasn't most captains. And Titan's wake wasn't just a ship anymore. It was turning into a battlefield with invisible enemies. The team moved fast through the dark corridors. The emergency lights flickered, shadows twisting across the walls. Every step echoed too loudly. When they reached the bay, the doors slid open. Vale stood there, or something that looked like Vale. His face was calm. Too calm. His eyes were empty but glowing faintly, like something inside was using him like a shell. Jax whispered, "That's not him." Rhea raised her blaster. "Let him go." Vale tilted his head slowly. "He is not held. He has changed." His voice was two voices together, Vale's mixed with something deeper. "We opened the door through him. Now it opens wider." Rhea didn't move. "And the fracture?" "The fracture is the beginning," Vale said. "It will not stop." Rhea fired. The shot hit Vale's shoulder. Instead of blood, a black mist poured out, swirling like smoke, returning to the shadow outside. Vale didn't even react. He just looked down at the wound, then back at them. "Pain is not real anymore." Jax pulled Rhea back. "Captain, we need a plan." "We can't fight this." Rhea knew he was right. Bullets did nothing. Shields did nothing. Science couldn't explain it. Logic couldn't stop it. But humanity had one thing these creatures didn't expect. Stubbornness. Rhea stepped forward again. "What do you want from us?" Vale's eyes flickered. "You were quiet for too long. The galaxy thought you were weak. But silence was only protection. Now the old wall between your world and ours is gone. When the fracture reaches full size, everything will cross." Rhea tightened her grip on her weapon. "You brought this." "We followed you," Vale said. "Your ships tore space before you even understood it. Your drives poked holes. Your weapons shook the layers. You opened the path long before we arrived." Rhea felt the truth strike hard. Humanity had jumped too fast into deep space. Too fast into things they never studied. Jack stepped forward. Then how do we close it? Vale finally smiled. Not a human smile. Something stretched. Something wrong. You cannot close it. The ship shook again as the shadow outside pulsed harder. The stars began to bend around the edges, warping like a broken reflection. Vale spoke softly. You can only survive it. Rhea made her choice. She hit the emergency override. Every blast door slammed down between them and Vale. She activated the ship's manual power core ignition. Jax's eyes widened. Captain, you're going to burn the ship. Rhea nodded. And everything inside that fracture door. Titan's wake began to glow as the core started heating past safe limits. The shadow outside reacted instantly, curling tighter around the ship like it understood the danger. Vale spoke through the door, calm and cold. You cannot stop the fracture, Rhea shouted back. Maybe not, but I can stop you. The core hit ignition stage. A blinding flash filled the bay. The black mist screamed. The shadow outside cracked like glass under pressure. The ship trembled so violently the entire crew fell to the floor. Then, silence. When the light faded, the shadow outside was gone. Vale was gone. The fracture line faded from the scanners. Titan's wake drifted alone again in empty space. Jack sat up slowly. Did it work? Rhea didn't answer right away. Then the screen blinked. A new message appeared. The fracture closed for now, but the others have seen you. The message disappeared. Rhea stood there, tired but steady. Tell Earth Command, she said quietly. This was the first wave. She looked at the stars, knowing they looked different now. Humanity isn't quiet anymore, and somewhere in the dark, something listened.